extended chords. If you see a bingo chord when it's said is always dominant, D7, but also something D9, D13, D11, okay? And we're not going to teach it now, but those, if it's a bingo chord, if it's a letter and a number and no other words in between, like major or minor, okay, it is a dominant chord. This is D7, what we've been talking about. This is D9. A great, great chord used in blues. In blues, I always play the D9. Just know it has the same function and works the same as the D9. So if it's D9, I'm going to skip 11. 11 does function the same way, but we ain't using it. D9th, D11th, D13th are the same as a D7th. They're dominant chords. They're the same thing. Here's how I play a G7. Here's a G13. It's a jazzy chord, but it is the same thing. It serves the same function. It's an extended chord. It's dressed up. And so you know, anytime you see a number like D9, it includes that flat 7. So D9 has the flat 7 and has the 9th. That's all you need to know. We'll get into them later. Questions, comments, concern? Confused? Good. Okay. Here's the flip side, if you're not confused yet. We're talking about dominant chords being named 7th. There's two other chords, types of chords that are named 7th that are not dominant chords. There's minor 7th and there's major 7th. Okay, I don't want to go into too much about how we finger them. I'll show them to you. But I just want to make sure you have the concept. They're not bingo chords. They're not dominant chords. They're an extension of a major chord or an extension of a minor chord to make them sound cooler. Okay? Make sense? So, and they're really, really cool chords. So if we take a, I gotta see which one I want to use as a sample. A C major 7th. Here's a C major. That, you may recognize that sound. Cornball music, light jazz, pretty music. It's a beautiful chord. This is C major 7th. Here we go. Here's C. We know that a C7th lowers the root down to a C major 7th lowers the root down just a half a step and has the 7th, the natural 7th. Steely Dan has you hear that sound all the time in a million Burt Bacharach songs, 10 million beautiful, great songs use a major 7th. This is the form, so you know how to play it. It's in your bonus sheet, but we're not going to go too deep into it. It's just the A form, and then we lower their second root a half a step. So it has the major 7th, the natural 7th. Show you, but I don't want you to learn because it can only be played, it's only really good my way, but this is a G major, the E form. The E form of G major 7th. I play like that, and I don't use the second string because it's too hard to finger. Technically, I guess you could finger it like that. But I just play the first, I skip that 5th, the flat, the natural 7th, that third. So that's G major 7. It's a nice chord. We'll use it a lot more later. Questions, comments, concerns? The other one, again, just an intro to it. Don't you get too wrapped around the axle with it, but I'm throwing it in here, is the minor 7th, which is actually probably one of the most beautiful chords that there is. Okay? This is the bar way to play A minor 7. It's an A minor. Now here's the tricky part. On an A minor 7th, which is a 7th form of a minor chord, it has the 1st, the flat 3rd, the 5th, and the flat 7th. Just in case you thought you weren't confused yet, the dominant chord has a flat 7th. The minor 7th has a flat 7th, but the major 7th has the natural 7th. I know. Anyway, A minor 7. So I play that by lifting my pinky, and that lowers that root down a whole step for the flat 7th. It's a little hard to bar, but it's cool. I always play it this way. But that's also cool. Now, the cowboy version is very cool, and you'll be using this a lot. You probably already do. So here's A minor. That's the 2nd root, right? What do you call it? Right there. We drop that to the flat 7th. One of my favorite chords. That's A minor 7th. A lot of the cowboy ones, it's a little bit hard to do, because what you're doing is you need the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and that flat 7th. And in the minor, 1st, flat, 3rd, 5th. Cool. Okay, for usage purposes, just notice that we have major, we have minor, we have dominant 7. All right? They all stand on their own, they mean their own thing. The major 7th chord, sounds very different from the major chord. So it's not really as good of a substitution. It kind of is saying something different. Functions a little bit like substitution, but it obviously, back racks up the thing a little bit. It just sounds different. On the other hand, the minor, that's a minor, A minor 7, sounds almost the same, is a great substitution. Anytime you're not sure and you want to fiddle around with a song, you can always substitute the minor 7th for the minor and see how it sounds. Okay? If you're in C, notice it's keeping that same note. It sounds cool, very cool. Anytime you might want to do that. So that's how I play it, but we're not going there yet. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, those are the other ones. Okay. And that's about it. That's really all I wanted to talk about. The important thing, we dive in and threw a lot of stuff at you. The important thing was the dominant 7th chord, understanding that it is the flat 7th. it is a major chord, and then we're taking that second root, which you don't need, and change it to a flat 7. It functions with a lot of tension as the 5th. And the other thing was to show you this movable chord shape, the C form of the 7th chord. E7, G7. Seven chords, they're good in blues, they're good in blues-based rock, they're good as the 5th. They're also the whole basis of funk. Questions, comments? Next time we'll talk about diatonic harmony further. Don't worry too much about it. One thing I wanted you to know is down 3 steps, 3 frets. It's a relative minor, and that the 5th is your dominant chord. Questions, comments, concerns? Good.